Alright folks, we are back with the first round. We'll go ahead and give our opponent the hey and good luck. And we have the option to play first. That's unusual. Yeah, we'll go ahead and play first. And looks like we have a pretty good hand here. We have all of our mana, and we're well on our way to a Keying Apparition and a Centaur Healer. So I don't think we're going to go ahead and mulligan this. So right now we can pretty much play anything, and I don't think it really matters. So we'll just go ahead and put down this plains. Looks like our opponent did mulligan to 6. Go ahead and put down this plains and say done go. So yeah, that grouping of Selesnya cards was absolutely bonkers. So now we can go ahead and put down our Keying Apparition. It was absolutely bonkers. I don't think I've ever been past so many Selesnya cards, ever. Usually Selesnya is snapped up right away. My next play is awesome. Is it a turn 2 pack rat? It is not a turn 2 pack rat. It is a foil plains. This guy's pretty funny. Alright, what do you got? Maybe a Drudge Beetle or something? Okay, new Prov Guildmage. That's interesting. I wholly doubt that he will be blocking my Keying Apparition with a new Prov Guildmage, so that's fine. So I think we can pretty much go ahead and swing in here for 2 and not worry much about it. If he did block, I certainly wouldn't have any problem throwing down a Common Bond. But for right now, I think we can just lay down the Centaur Healer and enjoy where this deck is taking us. With a trio of Centaur Healers in the deck, we have a pretty good chance of actually seeing them. Chromatic Lantern, okay. And now we see an Indrik, that's fine. So here, interestingly, we can go ahead and swing in with both of our guys, as we do have the Common Bond backup. And it looks like he's just going to go ahead and take that. And that's fine, because we'll go ahead and lay down this Indrik. And he will serve as a fine blocker moving into the next turn. So far so good. We're going to have 5 mana, which is fine. We're going to have Tristani's Judgment. Oddly, we don't have anything that we can populate right now, which, given the amount of ways that there are to make tokens, is kind of unusual. Armory Guard is going to be a pain to get past, but it can be done with this Centaur Healer. And we rip in another Centaur Healer. That's interesting. So here, I think I can just probably swing in... Let's see. If he did, for some reason, double block, it still wouldn't matter, because I would Common Bond... Well, let's think about this for a second. I can swing in with Keying Apparition and Centaur Healer and Towering Indrik. I can see how he blocks. I'm clearly on the offense right now, and I can be as offensive as I want. So I think right now the idea is, well, let's see. Swing in with Centaur Healer. He blocks with the Keying Apparition, or he blocks the Keying Apparition with the Armory Guard. I go ahead and Common Bond them both. But if he has a Swift Justice, he could take out the Keying Apparition. It's actually kind of a tough play. I mean, I could just go ahead and play the Centaur Healer and not really worry too much about it, but I don't want him to continue getting the level of mana that he has right now. So he'll be able to start detaining things, and it's just going to be really annoying. So I think what we can do here is go ahead and swing in with both of these. Let's see. We can swing in with both of these And do I really want to swing in with the Towering Indrik? What does that get me if I swing in with the Towering Indrik? Gets me an extra 2 damage. Yeah, I think I can go ahead and swing in with the Towering Indrik here. Okay, so he does go ahead and do that. We'll go ahead and common bond this and this up. And we'll see if he does have the Swift Justice. It does not appear that he does. Okay. So we've got him down to 7 now. And he does have enough mana to start detaining things, which is unfortunate. But we have some pretty decent beaters on the board right now. And even if I did take 4 damage, it's not really a big deal because I have a Centaur healer ready to go. And I'm at 23 life. So let's see what kind of potential bomb he has. He's tapping quite a little bit of mana here. Another Armory Guard. No. Now, the downside to him being able to detain things, obviously, is that he will be tying up his mana the whole turn by detaining something. Okay, so, I mean, he can attack with the Armory Guard here. There's obviously no problem with that. That's interesting. He is attacking with the new Prop Guildmage. Okay. Well, I guess there's no reason not to. The worst thing I could have had was a Selesnya Charm, which, if I did have a Selesnya Charm, I definitely probably would have used it there to kill that new Prop Guildmage off. Just because him being able to detain things could get really annoying. Foil Plains, though. Not too many ways to handle that. So he has plenty of mana. Very interesting. Let's see here. So I Tristani's Judgment, and I could swing in for the game unless he has something. What could he have? He could have a Skyline Predator, which would be bad for me. He could have a Hussar Patrol, which would be fine. I think we're fine just trying to go for the win here. We don't really have anything that we can populate right now. So I think we'll just go ahead and... Well, hold on. Yeah, I think we'll go ahead and swing in here. Just go for the win. Am I playing it a little bit too safe? It's got 6 mana open. Let's see what he has. Okay. So he's blocking with the Armory Guard. And he has the Explosive Impact. Okay. So that works out pretty well for him. That gets rid of our Centaur Healer, which makes me very, very sad. So I think now we're at a station where we can just play out the Centaur's Healer, and we can hold back our Tristani's Judgment. Got him down to 5, though. And we are back up to 22. Getting very close to stabilizing, though. Obviously, Azurius works best in the late game. And he is all fixed up with his Chromatic Lantern. Obviously, some sort of Azurius is it. Splashing for things like that Explosive Impact. And a Void Wheeler is very good. He can now get rid of this Keening Apparition. Void Wheeler not so good against something like a bunch of Centaur Healers, on the other hand. Okay, so he's going to go ahead and make his Armory Guard flying, and he'll be able to get through us that way. So looking here, we can go ahead and Tristani's Judgment the Armory Guard, and that will put him in a position where he will have to make unfavorable blocks. He'll either end up taking 2, putting him down to 3, or he'll have to lose this Guild Mage. So I think that's what we're going to do. Right now this Army Guard is the thing that, and I can do it this main phase just because it's not, he's tapped out, so. We can go ahead and Tristani's Judgment this big guy. And then we can swing in here. And the question becomes, does he want to go down to 3? And it appears he does. So he did draw a land there, so he does have one mana in hand. He can't swing all in here unless he has a follow-up play. So yeah, he's going to go ahead and hang back. And there's a lot of live draws that we have. I would rather not see more land. We have enough land to play anything on our deck. Collective Blessing would be pretty bad for him, unless he's holding on to a counterspell, unless that one card in his hand was a counterspell. But if it was, let's see. Well, there's really no other opportunity where he could have used it, so I guess it's not really something I have to worry too greatly about. So let's see. Now we're in a position where I have to think about what that one card could be. It could just be nothing. It could just be a land, at which part he will have to make some unfavorable blocks again, potentially. Holding back isn't really what I want to be doing right now. He could also double block the Centaur Healer and kill it, but he will lose his new Prov Guild Mage, and then we'll be stuck with a Towering Indrik on my side and a Void Wielder on his side. This is tough, but I think right now, well, we could play both of these out, and then if we do get Collective Blessing, that could be pretty good. I think and it looks like he is going to be playing something here. New Prov Guild Mage. Okay, so he's going to go ahead and use his mana for that. Alright, well that makes my decision pretty easy. It's fine. So now we can play out our Keening Apparition. And we can play out our Gatecreeper Vine. So we are fresh out of lands here, or fresh out of things to be had. Is there any reason for me not to take a Guildgate? I don't think so, because I can play it this turn. So it's not really a big deal. So now we're in top deck mode, but I'm looking at having a 17 life lead, which isn't too shabby. Keening Apparition is fine. I imagine he'll continue to leave up enough mana to always detain one of my guys, which is pretty unfortunate. Things like Knightly Valor are pretty good. So let's see what we want to do here. We could Knightly Valor up an Indrik. We could Knightly Valor up a Centaur Healer. We could Knightly Valor up a Keening Apparition. But if I have to sack my Keening Apparition for something, I just lose it, and that makes me sad. I think we can go ahead and Knightly Valor up our Indrik. I suppose that means that he will be tapping down my Indrik all the time. But I'm not sure that's necessarily like a terrible thing. And if he doesn't, that allows us to get past his Void Ruler, which is fine. He could also have some sort of like counterspell or some sort of removal. Okay, so this is where he'll have to utilize his mana and tap down our guy, and I imagine he will. Yep. Okay, nope. We'll be moving on then. So right now we're just looking for something to deal with. A new Prov Guildmage. Kind of makes me wonder if Tristani's Judgment on the new Prov Guildmage wouldn't have been a better answer. But it really depended on what we started ripping, and we are not really ripping anything of note. We did get a Knightly Valor, which is great, but the problem is that people are going to be getting detained, so that makes me pretty sad. Fortunately, though, he is still a very good blocker for us, so that's fine. And he can't exactly tap out to kill us. He does have the Keening Apparition, which is really unfortunate because if we do pull the Collective Blessing, we need to make sure that we get rid of this Keening Apparition. Another Centaur Healer would be fine. Courser's Accord would be fine. Common Bond would be fine. Interesting, and he has a Knightly Valor of his own. So he's giving his new Prov Guildmage flying. I think he may have forgotten something. I think he may have forgotten that my Indrik is no longer detained. Oh, okay. He got rid of the, he's going to get rid of the Knightly Valor. Okay, that's fine, actually. So, he could have a Giant Growth. He does have the Lantern. Man, wouldn't that be crazy? He's sitting a good long while here. I imagine if he had the Giant Growth, he would have snap used it. Yep. Guess not. Alright, and it looked like that was the end. I think that maybe that game played out a little bit... Oh, there was Collective Blessing anyway, so it was beyond over. Especially with his Keening Apparition off the board. Okay. So, that as it is, we do have things like new Prov Guildmage. Maybe this Gatecreeper Vine is kind of underwhelming. And I don't really think I want to put in a new Prov Guildmage of our own. He's not the fastest of decks. We could actually sideboard something like this Aerial Predation in, which could be fine. But then we're a little bit further down on creatures than I would like to be. Let's see, we could put in this Dryad Militant, which could also be very good. I think I'm okay with that. I think the Gatecreeper Vine was kind of underwhelming. Makes me wonder if something like an Avenging Arrow won't be kind of helpful. Let's look at what else we're dealing with here. Having a Keening Apparition is fine. Having a Concordia Pegasus in is also very good to help deal with things in the sky. Towering Endrick, very good. We didn't see a lot of our Populate cards, which is kind of weird. Tristani's Judgment, very good. Yeah, I think we can just roll it like this and have a pretty good time. I don't think he has a lot of ways to get things into Selesnya Charm range where I can actually exile it, but you never know. Yeah, we'll go ahead and submit it like this. Excuse me, I'm gonna grab a little drink here. So this looks like a pretty decent hand here. Turn 2 Keening Apparition, turn 3 Centaur Healer. It actually looks a lot like our other hand. So the only way I'll feel kind of sad is if I pull something like the Dryad Militant. Okay, and we didn't, so we can lay down this Guildgate and not really feel too bad about anything. New Prop Guildmage for him really did a lot of work, though, so that's something I do have to consider, especially if he gets it on a turn 2. Precinct Captain, that's very interesting, and also very bad for me, because my Keening Apparition does not stop a Precinct Captain. My Centaur's Healer will stop a Precinct Captain, but he is going to get his 1/1 Soldier token out of the deal, and that makes me kind of sad. And he's got an Azurius Arrestor. That's pretty good, too. Yep, in comes the Precinct Captain. This is an excellent start for him. Very aggressive. Alright, Eyes in the Skies is a good pull there. So we can go ahead and Centaur's Healer it up. Didn't see anything like a Swift Justice. Actually didn't see very many tricks at all from him. Of course, there's the potential that he just didn't draw any, but... If this Precinct Captain rushes in here, I'm actually kind of at a standstill of what I want to do. I suppose I just block with the Centaur Healer, and if he has something like a Giant Growth or something like a Swift Justice, then I just feel sad. He could also have... Okay, he has an Azurius Kieran. I was going to say he could also have something like a Justiciar there, and that would also make me very, very sad. Okay. So now we have things like more Centaur Healers, Eyes in the Skies, Common Bond. Those are all very good. And the question here is, do I swing in and maybe Common Bond him to death? And I think the answer is yes. Well, let's see. If I swing in here, how does he block? He blocks with the Azurius Arrestor on the Keening Apparition, and what does he do with the Centaur Healer? He probably just lets it pass. I think I'm going to go ahead and attack with just the Centaur Healer and see what he has to say about that. He may just go ahead and take this. if, say, he does double block, I think the way to go is risk putting the common bond on both the Keening Apparition and the Centaur Healer. The reason for that being, if he does swing in with Precinct Captain, the Keening Apparition does have the potential to kill it, or to at least trade with a card if he had some sort of trick. Okay, so he doesn't have anything there, that's fine. So now I think we wait on the Eyes in the Skies, and we can go ahead and play down this Centaur Healer. So if we pull another land, that'll be fine. We'll have Courser's Accord online. Interesting. Another Eyes in the Skies. So I think here we can go ahead and swing in with both Centaur Healers and see where that gets us. He could activate the Azurius key rune. I'm not so sure that's what he wants to be doing. So let's see what he has. See how he blocks here. I'm not so sure he wants to just go ahead and take 6. So I imagine he'll be throwing... Okay. So he wants to throw an Azurius Arrestor and that in front of there. I think now we can go ahead and Common Bond. That's fine. So, yeah, let's go ahead and give it a shot. We'll go ahead and place one there. And let's see, how do I want to do this? And one on this Keening Apparition. Again, to hold back the Precinct Captain, and we'll see what he has. Again, we haven't seen Swift Justice, so yeah, that's fine. Okay, so that was pretty good. The reason I did that and didn't just go all in on the Centaur Healer, just to make sure that he didn't Swift Justice us out of the sky, was just because I hadn't seen any kind of... Okay, well, Thought Flare's very good. He's got some strong cards in the deck, and he actually has a very good Azurius Izzet deck here. Okay, 2 lands. That's kind of what I would figure. He knows he needs to start drawing into some action. Voidwheeler's excellent. So the Keening Apparition will be going back to my hand. Interesting. Centaur Healer. I don't think that's what I would have done. Throwing back the Keening Apparition so that he could attack with the Precinct Captain would have clearly have been the way to go there. But that's fine. Let's see here. At this point, I can actually attack with both. And the question would be, would he double block the Centaur Healer? And if he did double block the Centaur Healer, would I be okay with that trade? And I think the answer is yes, I would. I think that's fine. Getting rid of a Precinct Captain for a Centaur Healer, I think that's okay considering right now what our hand looks like. I mean, I could also just hold back. Is it really worth pushing the damage in, is the question. Could also try and kill off this Keening Apparition. I think we can just go ahead and hang back right now. We're in a really good spot. There's not a whole lot of things I have to worry about. We've got this Centaur's Herald coming out, which is fine. We'll be able to crack that, start populating Centaurs, and things will be pretty good for us. So he does have a handful of cards, so do we. We are activating on one less than him, however. We're not quite near Courses of Chord mana as well, which is very unfortunate. So he's going in and out of tapping here. This is very curious. Chromatic Lantern. Okay, so he's all fixed up again. He's got 3 mana on tap, which he is using for a Lobber Crew. Okay. That's very interesting. So now things like Eyes in the Skies are going to be becoming very important. And it does make me wonder if I want to be populating Centaurs or if I just want to try and win in the air. Having a Selesnya Keyring is very good. That gets us to our 6th mana, and it also allows us to make a Centaur Healer, which is good. That as it is, I think we can swing in here and not feel terrible about it. If he does try and double block something like a Centaur, then we have things like Eyes in the Skies to make yet another one. We'll just be going card for card, though, which isn't like the best way I would like to play this. Well, let's see what his blocks would be. If we went all in, he probably blocks whatever, something with a Lobber Crew, he blocks something else with a Void Wielder, and he just lets 3 damage pass. I think there's a pretty good potential that that happens. He could double block a Centaur, and then I'm trading a Centaur for a Precinct Captain. I don't know if that's like the best of trades. It's probably not bad, though. And our hand is just all action. Okay. Okay, and he just lets 3 go by. That's fine. That's kind of what I figured would happen. So now we can go ahead and play down our Selesnya Keyring, and we can go ahead and play out this Centaur Healer. Oh. And we can go ahead and play out our Centaur Healer. There we go. So our board position is looking okay. He has a lot of cards that can get him out of problems here. The new Prop Guildmage would be very, very timely for him. But we have yet to see or use air removal. So if new Prop Guildmage does show up, I don't think I will have any kind of problem taking care of that with a Tristani's Judgment if we see a Tristani's Judgment in the immediate future. Also, things like Collective Blessing would be amazing. Interesting. So he is going to go ahead and fly in for 2 here. Which is fine. I guess he does have to start chipping down at me. I am sitting at 27 health right now. So that's fine. Okay. So we rip a land. So let's see. Things that we can do here. We can start getting just a bunch of Centaurs on the field. That might be the way to go. I think right now we have to think about overrunning him. Eyes in the Skies is also very good. But I think for right now we can just go ahead and do this these Centaurs right here. We do also have to watch our time here, just because he does go into very long games, just based on the speed of his deck, and I would really hate to get timed out. It's not looking incredibly likely, but you never know. So yeah, Collective Blessing would definitely spell the end here. We do have enough creatures right now where we can just kind of rush in, and even if he can detain one of them, I don't think it's going to be enough when we start throwing down things like Eyes in the Skies. We're sitting at, what are we sitting at? 5, 6, 7 mana. So if I rip one more mana, we can actually double Eyes in the Skies. That's pretty bad. Detention Sphere would actually be very bad for us. Interesting, so he's going to rush in here. And that is our next forest. So now I think we can start rushing in. Let's see here. We could also hold back and just continue to Eyes in the Skies, because he does have some favorable blocks. Like, he could double block with a Void Wielder. Actually, he can't, because that's going to be... Well, let's take a look here real quick. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. So... yeah, I think here we can go all in. And he does have to throw away the Precinct Captain. I probably could have won there if I activated the Selesnya Keyrune, which is really unfortunate for me. That's interesting. Okay. So we're all done there. He's down to 2. And that should pretty much spell the end when I double Eyes in the Skies, unless he has something amazing. Druid's Deliverance would probably be pretty good for him, but I don't really see that in his deck. He could also just be trying to run down the clock now. So yeah, activating the Selesnya Keyrune there would have probably won it. Or it would have made the blocks more unfavorable for him. Sunspire Griffin is fine. Okay, so at the end here we can go ahead and Eyes in the Skies. We can also, let's see, he can make an Azorius Keyrune. I think we can just go ahead and populate one of these Centaur tokens. And then we can go ahead and Eyes in the Skies. And we may just see a concession here, or he might want to continue to play it out. If he continues to play it out, obviously hilarious things to see would be something like a Collective Blessing. He does still have 3 cards in hand, so, I mean, it's not like things are, like, totally doomed for him. But something like a Phantom General would also be really, really bad. Okay, it's just a plains. So, yep, that's the end. Okay, well, drawing... Yeah, we were kind of far away from anything amazing. Well, everything in this deck is pretty good, I guess, but Phantom General would have been the best. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed that game, and I will see you guys for round 2.